Going back to one of your other success stories for the last couple of years, known in Germany as Das Dänische Modell, which is Dansk Vækstkapital. Could you tell us a bit about the Dansk Vækstkapital, about why has that become such a big success?
Building on the experience and the partnering model that was developed in Dansk Vækstkapital 1, Dansk Vækstkapital 2, that of partnering between the government and private investors, and building a platform through which private investors can invest in a diversified manner across a portfolio of funds to invest in a large number of companies. Companies that then create value. So it's a great way to invest back into the ecosystem in a cost-efficient way because it's Vækstfonden managing all of that. Building on that experience, building on the momentum and the announcements made from the ecosystem, it was called upon for Vækstfonden to try and see if we could build a successor to that, a successor fund. And that's what we're trying to do at this moment. But then you have COVID-19 hitting even that fundraising process. So we're not quite there yet. We're still optimistic that we will get there, but it's just as hard for us as it is for other companies, other funds out there trying to raise funds.
And talking about other persons trying to establish new funds, they're all looking at you. They're all looking at Vækstfonden as saying, okay, if Vækstfonden they're in, we can probably do a fund. If Vækstfonden they are not in, it will be really, really hard time doing a fund in Denmark. How do you look? Is that a good or a bad thing? And how do you look at your role as a I wouldn't even say important player. It's more. It's like a pivotal player in the Danish market for starting new funds.
It is a role or a position within the ecosystem that we meet with great humility. The way I'd like to phrase it is really that it's not Vækstfonden calling for a DVK3, it's the ecosystem calling for a DVK3. So this is something that we need to, once again, team up to enable. And then Vækstfonden has that enabling capacity in that we're managing such a fund. And in managing that, we get some of that leveraging effect that you're talking about, where when Vækstfonden or Dansk Vækstkapital can step in as a cornerstone investor, then in many cases others follow. And they follow partly because we've built credibility over the years as an organization that really digs deep and does very comprehensive, very thorough due diligence on the funds that we invest in. And then the LPs in Dansk Vækstkapital can benefit from that, can leverage on that by just tapping into all the work that we've done. So there's a facilitating element to it as well. And that's why it's proven to be quite impactful to have an entity like Dansk Vækstkapital to invest throughout the ecosystem, and I believe that's why the ecosystem players themselves are calling for this to continue.